Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us on another episode. We're so grateful to have another great guest. We have Elizabeth Bortolotti. Did I say it right?
That's right. Bortolotti.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Hey,
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about you and what got you into the industry. How long have you been in?
Wow, I've been in real estate since 2013.
Okay.
What made me get into it was I was a stay-at-home mom raising 3 boys, and I was looking for something to generate income. And I thought, well, do I use my degree and go into corporate America and do anything in communications? But that was going to take up a lot of my time. And so I was thinking that real estate would be a great option. But it turns out that just takes as much time if you want to be successful at it. So yeah, that was my reason for going into real estate, really, some way to provide for my family and still have the flexibility with the time.
So a lot of time, but you still have flexibility within that time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could be my own boss, so to speak, and kind of manage my schedule.
Makes sense, makes sense. So who do you serve? What type of clients do you look for?
Well, I don't know that I set out to look for a certain type of client. Most of my business has been referral business. So it's people within my sphere of influence, people that I know either from where I congregate at church or family and friends. So that's how I've gotten business, by referrals.
Okay. So when you got into business, I'm sure there was a lot of misconceptions that you had before compared to, the reality. What were some of those? What were some of the challenges you faced?
Okay, so I think with being your own boss and how to not spend time doing unproductive things or activities that don't really generate business or the money.
Right.
So yeah, and the fact that I thought that realtors didn't work very hard.
Did your family think the same? Do they still feel that?
Yeah, some people didn't trust realtors. I guess I consider myself fairly new to the business, so I didn't know that a lot of the reputation behind real estate was not very good. Anyway, so it's just overcoming some of those obstacles with people not trusting you completely and just gaining that trust from the client.
Cool. Yeah, that's
doing a lot of educating, by the way.
Yeah, so let's talk about what are some of the ways you go about overcoming that and I guess educating your people, your clients.
Okay, so I try to be very detailed and kind of break down the process and even if I have to go overboard on giving information, that's what I do. And even at the risk of sounding repetitive just like, I don't assume that people know, because they might be misinformed with what they know. So I just try to always approach it from a coach or let me reveal to you what this world is like and how I can benefit you.
I like that. That's a great way of approaching it. Don't assume.
Yeah, don't assume, because sometimes people, they might have right information, but I find a lot of the times they do not. They had a bad experience, so they base everything on that. And I just, I think I come off as pretty trustworthy, but so I just follow that.
Awesome. It's easier when you've already come off that way, right? Easier to get in the door. Awesome.
I'm not crooked or anything. Some people think realtors are crooks, but
it's unfortunate. It's just, I guess every industry has that.
I think so. Every industry has something to overcome. Some public relations work to do.
Right, definitely.
So I think as agents, we can do that work too.
So great. I love that. Public relations work on your own industry, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. So did you grow up here in Arizona, or where did you grow up?
No, I did not. I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And then when I was 9 years old, my mom moved us to Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
I can pronounce that now, but back then it was very difficult to say Massachusetts. And So after that, after a year in Massachusetts, we moved out to the West Coast of California.
Okay.
So I grew up in Long Beach,
Okay.
Long Beach, California. And about 20 years ago, I came to Phoenix.
Okay. All right. So I guess when you got to Massachusetts, what was that like? Coming from the island and hitting the mainland, and I know it's the same country, but it's different, right?
Yeah.
And so what was that like for you?
You know, Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to clear that
Yeah.
up. So it was interesting because I was a child. So when my mom said, "Oh, you're going to see the snow," I was kind of excited to see the snow. Coming from the tropics, where we don't know what snow looks like except on TV. And I was excited about that. But on the other hand, I was sad because my parents had gotten divorced. And so that was a separation, and she was moving the family there. And so it was like bittersweet.
Right.
Fun and not fun.
Understood.
And then after a year in the snow, I had enough.
That's enough, right?
Yeah, even as a kid, it was like, okay, this is not fun.
Totally understand that. Totally get that. So growing up with mom, I guess who did you look up to, and who was that person that you?
Oh, I think it was my mother.
Okay.
Yeah. My mom raised 3 kids on her own, worked very hard. I saw her work a lot. So she depended on me. I'm the oldest of 3. She depended on me to take care of the younger siblings, when she had to work those extra hours, or she had to get up really like 3 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work. And then, we all learned how to clean the house, do laundry, do everything, cook. I used to cook for my family, so yeah. She was tough. She was a tough cookie, and she was very strict.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that now. I didn't then, but now I do.
Right. I just think about that, I kind of had in those same circumstances myself, and I know how to cook and clean because of that, right? And I look at other people who can't do that, and it's
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's good.
it's one of those things. It's hard at the time, but you see the benefit and the value.
Yeah.
So what did you want to be when you were looking at your mom growing up? What did you want to be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I wanted to be a number of things, but never did I think real estate agent.
Right. This is why I asked that question, because I don't think anyone's like, I saw that.
At one point I wanted to be a model, and then I realized I wasn't tall enough. And then I wanted to be a teacher, an airline stewardess. I wanted to be an actress. So you name it. And I used to play those things, act it out as a kid with my friends.
Okay.
So yeah.
Not much after kid or childhood, you didn't pursue much of those things?
No, I actually went to seminary.
Okay. So let's tell me a little bit about that. What inspired you to do that?
Well, because at 18 years old, I met Christ.
Okay.
So by giving my life over to God, to the Lord, I don't know, I just had an interest in theology. So I went to Bible Institute, and that's what I did.
Cool.
And yeah, that was very interesting. And then I got married, and I had my first child at, I think it was 26. And then when I saw him, I said, I'm going back to school. And I went back to school, and I got my degree in communications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the child inspired you.
The
to be
child
better.
inspired me, yes,
Okay.
to get that degree.
So
you need inspiration, right?
Yeah, we do. And
Yeah,
I love,
at times.
Yeah, it's amazing where it comes from as well. It's just,
Yeah,
you never know
it's
where
the
it comes
motivating
from.
factor, And then once I started, I went at times part-time, other times full-time. And I was, had my second child. I was still in school. Took me about 8 years to get my degree because I was working full-time. I was a wife. I was in ministry. And then I had the boys.
Right.
I have 3 boys now. So it's like, busy mom. And
That's
busy
cool.
everything. So
Perseverance, though, and you got it done.
perseverance. You can do it. Anybody can do it. I tell my kids this. I tell my boys when they complain about how much workload they have. I just like, no. Let me tell you some stories. You can do it. So I hope to be an inspiration for them, just like my mom was for me.
Cool. What would you say would be the most interesting way that you've earned money or helped
Oh my goodness.
Pay the rent or, whatever that would be.
Interesting way. I earned money as a translator.
Okay.
I traveled to Machu Picchu in Peru.
Wow. Okay.
With a group of missionaries, and I was a translator.
Well, that is cool.
So that was interesting.
Just gotta go see all the ruins and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the missionaries were educating a group of Quechuan pastors in that region, and then on our off time we went to Machu Picchu.
That's cool. That's on the bucket list for me, so that's cool.
Oh,
Nice.
And it's really nice. It's an adventure.
Sounds so. So you seem adventurous to me. What
Yes.
do you think would have been the most adventurous thing you've ever done, or the craziest thing you think you've ever done?
I went backpacking in Europe.
Okay, so you just
For
got off the plane
15
and just
days.
walked.
Yep. I had my backpack and this little guide, or not so little because it's about that thick. Let's Go Europe.
Wow.
And I got off the plane in Paris. And I remember when we were landing, I went with my brother. So I looked at my brother and I said, "Oh my gosh, what are we doing? Where are we gonna go?" And we're going to go land. We're going to go into the airport. I don't speak French.
Man.
I said, "What are we going to do?" So we start flipping through the book and we were trying to find somewhere to go. And then I guess these two ladies that were sitting next to us heard us. It turns out that they were USC students on break.
Okay.
And one of them invited us to her parents' house in
Wow.
Paris. So we went to their house. We just followed them.
I'm thinking about Taken right now, so that's pretty adventurous to me. So, wow.
So yeah, we went from Paris to Italy, then Spain, and then back to Paris, and then back to LA.
Wow. Did you do any of the hostels you stayed in?
Yes, we stayed in hostels, walked a lot. I lost 13 pounds on that trip. That was great. It was like a pound a day, even though I ate nothing but baguettes and ham.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
That's another adventure because you have to be open to different cuisine and even not eating well, because when you're walking and you don't have a lot of money, you buy the cheapest food.
Right.
And nothing is cheap in Europe.
No gas station food?
No. Oh, no. But anytime you went to a restaurant, you're paying in euros and it's expensive. And so the portions, I mean, we're Hispanic, right? We serve ourselves in big plates, big portions. Right. So when we go eat at a restaurant there in Paris, we get French portions. So it's like little things like that. So my brother actually bought a couple of dinners, and people at the restaurant were shocked.
Wow.
They must have been thinking, these Americans a lot.
I don't know what they're doing, huh? That's fun.
Gluttony.
That's fun and funny right there. Cool. That's pretty adventurous. That's so cool.
Yeah, I want to do it again. Yeah.
Older right now,
Right
soon?
now.
Okay, so right now?
I would like to do it. Just go and be adventurous. But I would plan it a little bit better.
Makes sense. You're a little
I've
older
planned
now.
the routes.
Right.
I want to go to Spain and do I forgot the name of the walk that they do. It's like 10, 20 miles. But
Wow.
I would like to do that.
That sounds fun. So you studied in the seminary, you studied in college. Do you still like to read? Did you like to read then?
I like to read. I like school. I know a lot of people don't like school, but I liked school. I like the structure. I like the responsibility. I like the learning new things. So
I like learning, but I hate structure. So
do you?
Yeah.
Well, I think I need it, so otherwise I wouldn't get anywhere.
I hear you on that. So what would be your favorite book you've read?
I've read a lot of books, but I would say that the one that jumps out at me like right away is the Bible. And
Cool.
One of my favorite verses is in Psalm 23, 13. This I know, that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, and to wait upon him, that he's faithful. So whenever down and out or need a spiritual pickup, I just remind myself of that scripture and
That's
said,
cool.
no matter what happens, I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I'm not living this earth without seeing the goodness of God.
I like that.
So, yeah.
I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. So what is something that, if I were to ask your kids something that they would say, that mom's always saying, or mom's always harping on this, what is something you're trying to make sure they understand and
Clean your room.
I
Clean your room, because an organized room, this is an organized life.
Okay. I like that. That's probably something
your
to
room,
that.
I go into their room and I think, oh my gosh, what is your soul like and your spirit like when you have clothes everywhere and you have trash you haven't thrown out? Do you realize that? They say, Mom, please. But I say, do you realize what's going on in here?
Right. There's something to that. When there's clutter, there's clutter in the mind as well. So yeah, I like that.
There's a YouTube clip about that from, I think it's a Navy general or some general, talking about, you want to change the world.
Make your
First,
bed.
you have to make your bed.
I saw that. First
So
thing you do is
I
make your
sent
bed.
that. I
Yeah.
shared it to my boys. Click, click, click.
There's something to that, though. If you just
Yeah.
do that in the morning. Yeah. Interesting. I appreciate you
Well,
sharing
whenever
that.
I feel flustered or I don't know what to do, all I can do is start cleaning my house and decluttering. And then it's like, makes you feel like, okay, good. I got it, It's just
I like that.
a quick remedy.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Clean your desk.
Yes, I'm gonna have to try that.
Just declutter, and you'd be amazed how you get clarity on some things.
Declutter to clarity. You should write a
Oh,
book.
I like that. Declutter to clarity.
You should write a book.
Hey,
There you go. I
that's
just gave you a
Elizabeth's
title.
quote, okay?
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
So I always like to end with, or try and end with someone just giving a little bit of advice to either newer agents or just agents in general, something that you do or something that you hope that they wouldn't make the same mistakes that you would. You have anything to share?
Yeah, for new agents, I would get my systems in place.
Okay.
And get, all these tools that are available to us, really get to know them and how to use them, and then set yourself up for success in having, those systems in place. That way, from A to Z what to do, and get with a good broker that has, that heart for the new agent, and just bringing them up to success. I think, taking the time in the beginning to set all that up, because then afterwards you're just like going back to start again.
I
So
like that.
that's what I would
that.
give my advice to new agents, to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Where would the people find you at? How can they find you?
Oh, well, they can reach me. Can I give my phone
Absolutely.
number?
Yep.
602-579-1167. Or you can write to me at Home Dreams for All. That's the number 4. homedreamsforall@gmail.com. Elizabeth Bortolotti, making home dreams come true.
Bortolotti. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.